The first thing that really stands out to me is Shane Baz. Baz is a former top prospect, electric stuff, kind of an up and down year last year. But in September, we saw him produce decent numbers. And across those final five starts, he faced Baltimore, Toronto, the Cubs, Cleveland, and Seattle. When you're looking at small samples, I'm looking for something that stands out beyond the numbers, and like opponents that pitcher faces, especially depending on when they face them, can matter to me a little bit. It's not like a huge factor, but it's something I do look at. Within those last five starts, we saw him have a 2.82 ERA, a 2.42 FIP, a 3.66 xFIP, and a 3.86 Sierra. Granted, the Sierra is a full run over the ERA. Yes, of course he would regress, but even if he can sit around that 3.8 ERA at the end of the season, that would be a solid year for a guy who's been around the fours or higher than four. Not to mention during those five starts, a 17% K minus walk rate and a 1.25 whip. Nothing crazy about these numbers, but at the end of the year against good teams, playoff teams, and with a change of pitch mix. So there's a tangible change in there to help you buy in a little more. But over the whole season, he had home road splits, and the Rays were playing secondary Yankee Stadium as a home stadium, and with the outdoor elements, the ball really flew out there. Going back to the Trop this year, it's a better park for pitching. It's one of the better parks for pitching as a whole. So what you're doing here ultimately is betting on the talent Baz has shown in spurts with the opportunity. Emmet Sheehan is going to be one of everyone's favorite sleepers, breakouts, whatever you want to call them, and for good reason. He was not only dominant over his final five starts, but the guy has just always shown good stuff. Injury derailed him 2 years ago. He came back this year, and Sheehan just kind of took off. And the Dodgers being the Dodgers, win potential through the roof. And this is a team that's going to be in a 6-man rotation, so that limits Sheehan's potential for like 2 start weeks and stuff like that. But on a per inning basis, I think Sheehan could be a solid starting pitcher with a guy who just has electric stuff overall. In Sheehan's final five starts, he pitched at least 5 innings in 4 of those 5 starts. 3 of those went at least 7 innings. So going deep into games on a good team like the Dodgers is a plus for the win potential as well. But we had a 1.15 ERA, a 2.44 Sierra, again, a run difference, and all the other peripherals in between, honestly. We're talking still a 2.44 Sierra. That is ridiculous. Like, that is elite level stuff with a 0.61 whip for Sheehan. Like, it's absurd. A 30.4% K minus walk rate. Very few players get into the 30% mark. Very few players get into the 25+% mark of K minus walk. So I don't know if that's sustainable, but we had a 19.1 swinging strike rate and a 37.5% O swing, which is a chase rate basically. And Sheehan was checking all the boxes, showing that that K minus walk rate was earned. He leaned more into the four-seamer and the slider and cut the usage of the curve and changeup during that little span. Overall, Sheehan is showing so much potential here. The first hitter on the list is Wilyer Abreu of the Red Sox. This is just a guy I think can take another step forward. It's always like injury that seems to get him. Every year, there's always something. This year, only 115 games, but we had a 786 OPS and a 110 WRC plus with 22 home runs and 6 stolen bases. That's while not being able to hit lefties or barely playing against lefties. But we're talking about a guy who's won back-to-back gold gloves. So the elite defense will keep him in there. And also reason why we'll see him enter games late. So even if he doesn't start versus lefty, he's the type of guy that'll come in versus righties and less likely to get pinch hit against lefties unless it's late in the game because that defense is just that good. And honestly, he might even get traded. So if Abreu's traded, maybe there's a chance for full-time playing time. But with how bad, and I mean bad against lefties he's been in his career, I have a hard time imagining that he sees many lefties no matter where he plays or what team he's on or whatever. But back to 2025, in just those 115 games for Abreu, I mentioned the OPS was solid, the 110 WRC plus, the 12.3% barrel rate, and 44.9% hard hit rate. He did that while cutting down on the swing and miss, leading to the career best contact rates and K percentage. So again, it goes back to the defense being there and the offense steadily increasing and getting better, and the cutting down the swing and miss, growing. He's only 26 years old with a potential to take a step forward and kind of surprise. A catcher I like is Kyle Teel. Kyle Teel just has those skills, the flashy skills you want in a catcher. The guy has a max EV of 113.7 last year at that MLB level. That was 87th percentile, a 20.8% pull air rate, which again just shows that he's able to pull the ball in the air, which is something I've noticed with White Sox in general. They're not the most pull heavy team, but some of the young guys are pulling the ball in the air a lot. So it tells me that that's a White Sox team thing. So maybe some other guys can benefit from that on that team, but that's another discussion for another day. Overall, Teel walked a ton, and he showed a patient plate approach. Teel doesn't chase a ton, but he has a below average swing rate as a whole, and then some swing and miss as well. So the Ks could remain an issue with this approach, but you can tell Teel has a patient plate approach, which lends itself to like maybe he's picking his pitches or something, reason why he can maybe succeed still. And if you look at Teel just from a power metric standpoint, it's below average or in terms of like below what you expect for somebody who can hit some home runs. But that goes back to Teel pulling the ball in the air. As long as he keeps that approach, he's going to outproduce the metrics. So again, this is a reminder, approach over metrics for some of these players. The one red flag here is he's a bad defender, at least it was this year. Now, can that improve? Absolutely. Defense is one of those things that a player can make big strides in the offseason if they try. But it's just one of those things where you have to really be concerned because it could lead to like inconsistent playing time, or does he move over to DH or first base, which would be great for the year that he does that. So just one of those things just to keep in mind. They have room for DH, first base, but Vargas was really good at first base this year for them. So I don't know if first base is necessarily an option for him this year. We've seen Teel play the outfield. There are ways to get him in the field, the bat in the lineup. That shouldn't be a concern. It's just a matter of where does he play long term. I couldn't say right now, but the defense was a red flag there. And the last guy on this list is a guy that everyone thought was going to break out last year. And maybe everybody was a year early, but Jasson Dominguez does still show some promising stuff. This is early in the offseason, but Boone said that Dominguez is expected to be an everyday player next year, blah, blah, blah. The stats he put up were solid. For being inconsistent, we saw some decent production out of him. Dominguez did see a little bit of a drop in his barrel rate to just 7%, but he did hit the ball hard at 49.6%. The max EV was a career high 112.1. His pull error rate was by far a career high at 21.7%, which put him well above league average, which is around 16.7%, looks like. So overall, if he could just keep pulling the ball in the air, especially in Yankee Stadium, good things will happen. He's also still really young. We're talking 22, 23 years old, and there's so much reason for optimism. The tools are there. Now, something worth noting, there are some rough splits so far. He is a switch hitter, but he has a lot harder of a time against lefties than he does righties. Like last year alone, we're talking a 596 OPS against lefties compared to a 768 OPS against righties. Again, Dominguez is a switch hitter, but it doesn't mean he's good at hitting both sides of the plate, right? Just fine because it still puts him on the strong side of a platoon at the very least. I still think there's a lot of reasons to like what we see here. It's just, can that defense improve, and how bad will it be against left-handed pitching this year?